What is up, Rad family? In the comments of the last YouTubers and Creepypastas, or YIC, you all left me so many awesome suggestions for YouTubers you would like to be seen thrown into a creepy plot. The two most common names mentioned seem to be PewDiePie and Markiplier, and since I just finished watching PewDiePie's YouTube Red Show, I decided to go with him and to make him the star of this week's Creepypasta. So let's get to it. PewDiePie and Marzia travel to LA to start filming the second season of his YouTube Red Show. The very next morning, PewDiePie gets an unexpected phone call saying that they would like to shoot as soon as possible. Similar to the first season, a host with a filming crew show up to his rental. Everything appears to start off very normal, except this season has a brand new host, and he seems weirdly too friendly. Every time PewDiePie glances at him, he is already staring with a huge grin on his face. He's not sure why, but every time he catches the host's glance, he gets goosebumps. Throughout the night, PewDiePie notices the host's gaze grows more and more intense. Not one to be naive and knowing what the point of the show is, he starts thinking maybe that's the point, and so he rolls with it. When they finish recording that night's script, he heads back to the home rental to meet Marzia. He tells her all about the creeps the guy was giving him, but that everything else went smoothly. Exhausted from the day's efforts, he heads to bed, but he doesn't end up getting much sleep as he awakes a few hours later in the middle of the night to a text message from the host. In the message, he says he needs to see PewDiePie urgently for reshoots, as they had forgot to ask him a few important interview questions for that episode. He tries to brush it off, saying he's utterly exhausted and asks if they can simply do it tomorrow morning instead. But the guy strangely gets aggressive, saying that for continuity purposes and to stay on schedule, it needs to be done now. While he doesn't really want to, he agrees to meet up because he doesn't want the rest of filming to be awkward. He tells PewDiePie to meet him in the creepy alleyway not too far from the house, saying that it'll add a great atmosphere. Marzia is asleep, so he leaves quietly and goes to the spot he was told, but he arrives alone, not seeing anyone else there. Again, this seems much too coincidental, so PewDiePie assumes this must be part of the episode. So he begins hamming it up, exaggerating his movements and shouting out to the night for the hidden cameras to come out. But after a couple of minutes of dead silence, his nerves begin to grow unsettled, and he reaches for his phone to text back the host. But as soon as he hits send, he hears the chime of a nearby phone getting a text message. Already on edge, the unexpected sound causes him to jump, and he quickly whips around to see no one standing behind him. Now annoyed, he sets off to go back home. But a block later, he begins to notice footsteps far off in the distance. Peering over his shoulder to see the source, he finds a shadow of a man. He turns around and approaches him angrily, telling him how unprofessional he is being. While still quite a distance away, he can see the guy crack that creepy smile similar to the host, but now much more demonic. He hears his phone go off with an incoming phone call and stops in his tracks to answer it, keeping his gaze on the sinister shadow. It's the producer saying he's sorry, but that they have to cancel tomorrow's shoot and push back filming because the set isn't complete. Confused as to what he is referring to, PewDiePie then asks him if they can reschedule the interview questions for tomorrow, but the producer is confused as to what PewDiePie is referring to. He tells PewDiePie they don't typically do interview questions until after they record, so that they are relevant to his answers. And since they hadn't yet started recording, no one should have asked him about an interview. PewDiePie laughs at the producer's lame attempt to scare him, but the man is adamant that they hadn't yet started recording, and the concern is showing through his voice. Growing a bit panicked, PewDiePie quickly describes the host and what they had filmed that day. The producer cuts him off mid-sentence, asking him where he is now. He tells him he got a text message to meet for reshoots, and he's in the alleyway right now. Practically shouting in the phone, the producer tells PewDiePie to run home and lock the doors, and he will call the police immediately. Seeing the grin on the shadow grow wider, he doesn't hesitate and sprints down the street. He runs all the way back home with distant footsteps following. He bursts through the door, slams it shut, locks it, and calls out to Marcia to come in the living room and turn on all the lights. Just as he does so, he gets another phone call. Assuming it is the producer, he answers asking if the police are on their way yet. But the voice on the other line bursts out into a shrill laughter and says no before hanging up. Noticing the lights are still off, he calls out for Marcia again, but gets no reply. Peeking between the blinds, he doesn't see the shadow of the man outside. He sees their bedroom door cracked with the lights still off and makes his way towards it. He gently pushes the door open, producing a hideous creak, and he notices their bed is empty. Reaching for the light, he flicks the switch, and what he sees makes him fall to his knees in terror. Written in what appears to be blood above their bed, "It's just a prank, bro." Well, yeah, I feel very demented after writing that. I hope you guys enjoyed the creepiness that I think is the story, and hopefully you felt it was very creepy too. I want to thank every single one of you that left suggestions, not just the ones that mentioned PewDiePie. And if you want to leave a suggestion for a future start of a yick, leave it down in the comments below. You can leave as many as you want. I can't wait to read who you guys suggest and who you guys want to see in the next Nightmare Fuel. Thank you guys so very much for watching today's video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. What is